1290 and 1015 FM, Sports Talk Tonight, and streaming online at Newstalk, KGVO.com.
January 11th, 2017. It is frigid and cold in the Garden City of Missoula, Montana, but we are warm and toasty live from the KGVO studios. This is Sports Talk Tonight. That almost sounded like a monologue.
Kind of a lengthy billboard out of the billboard there, yeah.
Wow, I tell you.
But that's okay. You were showing off your broadcast skills. Oh,
my chops. My chops.
I've trained you so well.
My chops. With Gurnz and Bedard, Sports Talk Tonight, and one of the band members back in town.
House band.
Mr. Riley Corcoran, voice of the Griz, UM basketball, UM football. I've been traveling around to the far reaches of this great country and even out of country. Oh, no, you didn't get to go out of sorry to rub that in, right?
I know. Yeah, especially with the weather outside. Thanks for reminding me I missed an 80-degree tropical trip. That's real nice of you, Gurns. Thanks for breaking it in.
Staycation. You deserve a staycation, Riley.
Well, when you get to go to beautiful places like Moscow and Chini and Pocatello eventually.
You got a little tropical getaway over Christmas. Don't be crying me.
I did. I had to. I mean, I don't think I'll see the sun for a while. The only benefit of this schedule, I think, for the men's team this year is the one trip we avoid is going to Greeley and Grand Forks. There is a light at the end of the tunnel here. This is the only time we see these guys, and they have to come to Missoula. So that's a plus.
Riley Corcoran is brought to you by First Montana Bank, your home for free Centennial checking plus unlimited cash back every time you use your debit card online at firstmontanabank.com. And before we get to the Grizzly stuff, I think we need to get to one of the best national championship college football games I've seen, and that was the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Clemson Tiger game on Monday night. Holy, was that a long game or what?
I told you, it's like the Super Bowl. It's a 4 to 4.5 hour investment in time. I don't know if the halftime is longer than normal.
They replayed everything.
That number one, the first half just seemed like it took forever. Maybe the second half was just more entertaining with more points. But that first half, you're looking into it, and it's past 8 o'clock. We're 2 hours into the game, and we're not even done with the second quarter yet. What's going on?
I was at a buddy's house, and we were watching the game with my wife and daughter and their kids, and it was and I'm thinking, okay, I'm gonna be home about 9, in bed 9:30. We got home at like at 10:45 or something like that, and it was funny. I was on Facebook today, and Ryan Divish, the beat writer for the Mariners, who I love watching him.
We've had Ryan on the show, right?
And we'll have him again here pretty quick. The Mariners, the busiest team in the Hot Stove League. But he retweets a deal that Skip Bayless sent out. And Skip Bayless said, this is in the first quarter, this game has turned into an unfortunate joke. Clemson has lost heart because its leader has inexplicably lost his way. And Skip Bayless is the biggest, just the loudmouth head on ESPN, whatever.
Pompous, places
just a jerk.
Way too much self-importance on everything he says. I've only watched the promos. It's him and Shannon Sharp.
Yep.
The promos are enough for me to never want to watch that program.
The only guy I hate worse is Dan Le Batard.
Okay.
Let me just throw that out there. But it's funny too because he throws out this deal about Deshaun Watson, and Deshaun Watson in the first half did not look very good. But
first quarter.
But if you noticed, he got helmet to helmet. One of the first, should have been a 15-yard targeting, could maybe out of the game for the Bama defender. No call, which is fine. But watch the game. There might be a reason why, he's not playing like he usually does.
And a good comparison too is Aaron Rodgers for the Packers this weekend. It looked pretty poor. Starting off for him against the Giants. It was 6-0. Same thing. You write him off. You have that early take. Skip Bayless. He's definitely a blowhard that will say anything for clicks.
There's
and
the phrase I was looking for.
And just it's all about clicks and attention, and he'll just take any out there.
I think the last promo I saw, he referred to Aaron Rodgers as the trickster of the century, whatever the heck that means. But
once again, with the lucky Hail Mary at the end of the first half.
Well, but this was before.
Rodgers.
This was before that game.
Oh, yeah.
They were running this promo, and he called him the trickster of the century. I'm thinking, what does that mean exactly, Skip?
But back to the game. There were amazing grabs by the Clemson guy, the amazing runs by oh gosh, what was the guy that ended
up Hurts, Jalen Hurts. Well, Scarborough. And that was a big factor. They didn't talk about that much throughout the broadcast, but him being out, I mean, he ended up breaking his foot. Who would have thought that? I mean, it was that serious.
I thought that was a factor in that game.
That was a huge factor.
They say they've got a talent. It's Alabama, so you got you're five.
Next up,
you're 9 deep at everything. Yeah. But I thought that was a factor in the game.
Well, and then the last play of the game too, which I found very interesting. So I'm watching it live, and they had the 2 receivers to the right. And the outside guy runs in, and the inside guy runs out, and they're looking to do a little rub, is what they call it. And the receiver was so wide open on that Renfro, and I go, oh man, let's see the pick play. Let's see. They review it, and I'm like, no pick play. The receiver runs at the DB, and the DB actually grabs him by the shoulders and the head.
But doesn't he button hook? I mean, he just did.
No. That was before. That was a touchdown before.
Oh, the touchdown.
The big tight end does the button hook and makes himself available.
Yeah.
This one, the receiver runs at the DB, and the safety basically grabs him by the shoulders and the head and pulls him down.
Yeah, it was, and it had no effect on the play.
No, it didn't. Mm-hmm. But the thing is now, and I'm listening after the game, the controversial last call, and I'm like, what are you talking about? That was a great play.
That was clean.
Great play, clean play.
If he'd have dropped, it would have been controversial last play if he'd have dropped that ball, because that probably would have, that probably would have burned what was left of that 1 second on the clock. I mean, I want to say, man, that was brilliant coaching. A little bit risky that they took it to just the very last wisp of a second to score that winning touchdown.
It took guts. Dabo Swinney, he's a different breed.
Let's say it would have bounced off his shoulder pad or something and hung in the air a little bit. They would not have had.
Well, but here's the deal, though. There were 7 seconds left.
There were 6.
Or 6. Well, when he touched the ball, there was 3. I mean, so it had gone about as far as it was gonna go, and they would have reviewed it because they reviewed everything else. And by the way,
that's for sure.
Whatever the referee said was going to go in that game, because that guy was
jacked up. What? That was probably the biggest storyline of the first half. When it was a low-scoring game, I'm thinking, what? I remember watching this guy in September. How did he get so big? Did he watch Hockey League? Did they go work out together?
Same law firm they must
have. I'm thinking, what the heck? And then back to the final play. It's so funny as sports fans. We always talk about let the players decide the game. We never want a foul called. We never want a penalty to decide it. And then all of a sudden that happens. They swallow their whistle or keep their flag in their pocket. And now we're saying, oh, maybe they should have thrown it. I just thought that was ironic because it's the truth, right? You never want refs or officials to decide the game.
No,
ever.
Totally true. And just a great.
I feel bad for our listeners that didn't get a chance to see what we're.
Yeah, the only
thing that we're talking about.
The only game I even watched. The whole bowl. I mean, I watched a couple of halves here and there.
Exact same thing. I watched a little bit of this and that, but very little.
So, yeah, Dabo Swinney, great coach, seems like a really great guy. And everybody's bagging on Nick Saban, too. I was like, hey, guys, Alabama's there. They're fine. Man. They're going to be right there next year.
Like they won't be back in that thing next year.
They were 1 play away. Yeah. I mean, and they get there every year, and it's expected they get there every year. I mean, I couldn't confirm this one way or another, but that had to be the first time they weren't a double-digit favorite in any game all season. I mean, it means they're just so far and away ahead of the competition and where they're at. Clemson is probably the only team that really had a shot against them just because of the confidence factor and the mental side of it, that they weren't intimidated to take the year before. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And interesting, too, I read it was the first time in like 60 games where Alabama, leading by double digits going in the fourth quarter, had lost. I believe it was fourth quarter, lost the game.
96 and
90. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Nick Saban too. I mean, that doesn't happen much, but you got to think that he's tied, I think, with Bear Bryant, right? So that win, I mean, he might already be the best college football coach in the history of college football, and hey, he's still right.
And as I understand it, some will say he's surpassed Bear Bryant because national champions were voted on prior to the bowl season.
Sure.
Back in the day.
Sure.
Alabama got one when they went 10-0, maybe 11. I don't know if they played. It was a wise bet. They were undefeated during the regular season. They won the national championship. They lost their bowl game. If that had happened, a few years ago.
Well, in 10-0, 11 games, I mean, that's nothing anymore. Now these guys are playing 15 or 14 or whatever
games,
the heck it is. And speaking of 15-game seasons. Anybody have a chance to watch any of the FCS Championship game?
Yes.
Did not.
James Madison against Youngstown State. James Madison
Pretty
prevails
impressive, though.
28-14. Kind of a ho-hum game.
I think it's too long of a break. I feel that the exposure for FCS football would be greater if they just slammed them in one of those days, let's just say December 29th, picking a random day, that you have 4 bowl games. Just put them in a slot that one of those normal bowl games would be, and it's on ESPN. You get the exposure you want. You don't need to make it singular and put it 3 weeks later. Everyone loses the luster, and then you have all the suspensions too. I mean, there was a lot of factors that went against that. But yeah, it was ho hum. It was when I was at Eastern Washington watching it. It was a 9 a.m. start. I mean, that you almost forget about it unless you really knew it was happening.
Well, that was the thing. I was in Fort Benton. My kid had a basketball tournament in Great Falls, and we were sitting around having breakfast. Like, oh, is that game on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's glance at it. And
it used to be a Friday night. It was just shortly after the semifinal games. And I agree with you.
Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Like 21st, 20th, 22nd.
It needs to be. They need to just give them maybe 7 or 10 days between the semifinal and the championship. Do it right before Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? The NFL looks like they're going back on the Thursday night football games that have kind of bombed in the last couple of years. Wait, you know what? You tried it. You tried to do something. Just change the date. It's no big deal. Yeah, good idea. Right? Get that done.
Too many dollar signs involved, I think.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth? So, anyways, Riley, traveling a lot for Griz basketball.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it's been wild. Going back and forth, getting this conference swing started, and never really quit from December and how they've done the non-conference. And I better get used to it. It sounds like Coach DeCure, without hinting too much, is same type of schedule next year. I mean, they'll be going on the road and playing tough teams and being on the road for the majority of November and December. So I'm used to it, though. It's fun. Those guys are a great group to travel with.
Well, we're going to get more in-depth with the Griz basketball after our first break. But before that, let's get to the trivia, Denny.
You Betcha Gurnz Trivia Time is brought to you by Happy Days Car Wash and Fuddruckers. Happy Days Car Wash, voted Missoulian Reader Poll favorite again this year. We have a gift card for The Works Car Wash at Happy Days. They are on Brooks, out between the Fairbridge Inn and Suites and Pizza Hut. So we've got a gift card for The Works Car Wash. I think that's still a car I drive underneath all that grime somewhere in there. I got one of those. So, but you get a gift certificate, a gift card for that. You also get a $10 gift certificate to Fuddruckers. Whatever you order off that amazing Fuddruckers menu, you get to top it yourself to make it absolutely perfect. That's why it's the world's greatest hamburger, because you got quality control at Fuddruckers on North Reserve. So $10 gift certificate. If you know this week's trivia answer, the number to call if you do know the answer is 721-1290. 721-1290 for Sports Talk Tonight trivia. And we will start talking about this in just a couple minutes now that we have Riley Corcoran here. But Big Sky Conference battles resume tomorrow for your University of Montana Grizzlies when the Bears of Northern Colorado come to town. Did you know that during their Division II days, Northern Colorado actually played for a national championship in basketball? They lost that finals game in 1989 to another team that's on Montana's schedule this year. Did Northern Colorado lose the national championship game in 89 to A, Wisconsin-Milwaukee, B, Oral Roberts, or C, Pepperdine? Played for a college basketball national championship, Division II in 89. Did they lose the championship to A, Wisconsin-Milwaukee, B, Oral Roberts, or C, Pepperdine? 721-1290. I need a winner now, Gurnz.
Danny, have you been talking to Chris Walter-Skirchen once again? Because
but that's a good idea. I'll just have him start doing my trivia for me.
That is an excellent trivia
good
question.
Call.
And you know what? There's no gimmies in there. All three are actually on the schedule.
That person thinks it's a gimme waiting to talk to us.
Well, hey, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have a winner on Sports Talk Tonight.
It's that time of year again where people make the decision to lose weight. Don't be fooled by programs that offer quick weight loss or melting fat away. The Peak offers a weight loss program that will help you change your lifestyle and lose weight. Hi, I'm Denise Zimmer, registered dietitian at the Peak. We are excited to announce Lose It at the Peak starting January 26th. Our 8-week program will help you change your life, eating and exercise habits through education, exercise, and encouragement, resulting in shedding of unwanted pounds. For more information, call me at the Peak at 239-0078.
The savings continue into the new year at CHS Mountain West Cooperative. It's cold outside, and when it's time to do outside chores, you need to keep your hands warm. So choose insulated rubber-dipped work glove, Frosty Grip Glove by Boss, just $4.99. That's a $5 savings during January hot buys. Stay warm with great savings on flannel shirts, coveralls, work boots, and so much more. CHS Mountain West Co-op in Missoula and Ronan.
One-stop branch and home store, Mountain West Cooperative.
Whether it's time for a new water heater, furnace, major bathroom remodel, or you just need the faucet or toilet repaired, trust the team that Western Montana's turned to since 1978. Thomas Plumbing. Commercial or residential, Thomas Plumbing's a full-service plumbing and heating company. No job's too small, and your satisfaction's guaranteed. And if you like to do it yourself, you'll find a complete line of in-store parts and accessories at Thomas Plumbing, 2327 South Avenue West in Missoula. And visit thomasplumbingmt.com.
Downhill skiing, cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, snowmobiling, snowboarding, sledding, tubing, winter in Montana. To enjoy all those activities, you probably have to drive someplace, and that someplace can be a little rugged. You need snow traction and knowledge that you can only get at Jerry Wessel's Les Schwab Tire Center in Hamilton. Like a veteran ski instructor, they can make sure you have the right equipment and get you headed in the right direction with the right tires. Take the worry out of winter driving with a free pre-trip safety inspection at Jerry Wessel's Les Schwab Tire Center, Hamilton. At Bell McCall Ford in Hamilton, they take the guesswork out of buying a car or truck. When you buy from Bell McCall, no extra fees are tacked on, no inflated interest rates, and no expensive extras. Now's a great time to take advantage of closeout pricing on new 2016 Ford F-150s, Super Duties, and Escapes. Huge factory discounts on most Ford models. Take advantage of big savings on remaining 2016 models in stock at Bell McCall Ford, downtown Hamilton.
Now back to Missoula's Sports Talk Tonight on KGVO.
Missoula Sports.
Every second of every day.
We are back. Sports Talk Tonight. Just enlightening Riley on the diet I just started.
Glad
I sure am enlightened. That's a great word to use.
It's a green smoothie, veggie, fruit diet for 10 days. Can't even have a beer.
And you are in day number
2.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a long,
So
hard
the
road.
last day will be next week's Sports Talk. Oh, you'll be cranky.
Oh,
Riley, would you cover for
Yep,
I'll be. Oh, no, you'll be on the road.
You know what? You'd probably rather have me on the road than a cranky Gurnz.
I don't think I want Mr. Cranky Pants now.
Oh, I'll be. Hey, if I'm not cranky now, I won't be cranky.
If you're cranky with your guest here next week, I know who your guest is.
It's just Tabor.
No,
it's Pinkerton.
It's Coach Pinkerton.
Oh, I'll be sweet as pie.
All right, okay.
I'll be sweet as pie. Danny, hey, we got a winner, don't we?
We do. A friend of Sports Talk tonight. It's Louis Miller. How are you tonight, Louis?
Very good, thanks.
We appreciate you tuning in. We got trivia lined up here. Griz taking on Northern Colorado in college basketball tomorrow night. And during their Division II days, Northern Colorado actually played for a national championship. They lost the finals game in '89 to another team that was on Montana's schedule this year. Was that A, Wisconsin-Milwaukee, B, Oral Roberts, or C, Pepperdine? What do you think there, Louis Miller?
I'll go with A, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Must have been a thriller. Wisconsin-Milwaukee 89, Northern Colorado 88 in overtime.
For the national title.
Yeah, and both teams, of course, have since moved up to D1. Milwaukee has pretty much dropped the Wisconsin part of their name. They're just basically pretty much Milwaukee now, I think. But, yeah, it was Wisconsin-Milwaukee. And, Louis, we appreciate you tuning in. Going to get your prizes mailed off to you, all right?
Thanks, man.
All right, thank you, buddy. Louis Miller, our latest winner, Gurnz. He is from Stevensville, by the way.
Wow, congrats. Another Bitterrooter. I love
another
it.
Another Bitterroot friend.
Sports Talk Tonight brought to you in part by Orange Street Food Farm, locally owned and operated grocery store featuring the freshest fruits and vegetables, fresh meats, and a great beer and wine selection. And by Grizzly Liquor, located downtown next to the Iron Horse. Big Sky, big selection, and online at grizzlyliquor.com. In studio, still with us, going to be here the whole dang show.
That's nice.
Which is good.
I got to ask the play-by-play guy, how exciting is this Montana Grizzly basketball team to call the Game 4.
And his name is Riley Corcoran, so I was trying to set up there, Denny. So
did I miss that part?
You'd miss that part. Riley Corcoran.
I tell you what, it has been so fun for me. Every game this year has been close or at a really cool venue against a good team. So there has not been a boring game yet.
In between.
I mean, you looked at it, Oregon. Hey, at least you're playing Oregon. You had the lead for a little bit. They played 10 single-digit games. They're starting to break through a little bit. I completely believe in what Travis DeCuire is selling, what he does with this team day in and day out. They have been just fun to be around, number one, and number two. These games have just been great, and they're showing you. That Weber State game was high caliber. Those two teams are far and away, I think, at the top of this league, and you kind of saw the next tier last weekend, and the Griz go on the road and become the first team in Big Sky history to sweep that road trip. Since Idaho rejoined the league, no one had went to the Palouse and won both those games. So that's a pretty good notch in the belt, especially for the second weekend of league play.
Well, and the Griz got their record to 8-9, which is kind of deceiving because they played an all Division I schedule, which is the first time they've ever done that. And I believe I didn't even hear this, but I'll tell you what it is. Travis wants to get those guys battle tested for league conference games, and at 3-1, you're seeing it.
And they won their last two non-conference games, too. So you're talking they've won 5 out of their last 6. And that overall record is so deceiving. I mean, at this point on, even for my broadcasts and through all the stats that I'll use, it'll be just conference play only because that's how you really determine where this team is at. The non-conference schedules in this league are so imbalanced. I mean, you could have one team play a cupcake. We'll look at Eastern Washington, and they're still top half of the league. But they played 6 games this year, decided by 6 points or less. They won them all, and they all were at home. Close games against mid-majors and overtime. Certainly not going to play Ole Miss, playing Washington State, playing Oregon, along those lines. So it's very different, and this team trending upward at the right time. And you're going to come back and look at this when we're in Reno or maybe right before it, that Weber State loss, actually, it will be one of those that's a productive loss that happened at the right time. First weekend of conference play, and it doesn't matter who hosts anymore, who's number 1 or number 2.
Right.
And speaking of productive losses, too, what I think is it was beneficial to the team is, I mean, any team and any mid-major can schedule a lot of road games against powerhouses. They'll probably be happy to pay you $75,000 and all is good. But if you lose by 35 or 40 and all the scrubs are in the second half, and that's happened. In fact, it happened last year. I think, what do you have? We have Kansas last year, Washington, a few of those. But you look at what happened in those money games at major schools this year, Southern Cal and Oregon, as you say, they ended up being double-digit losses, 14, I think. But they weren't 14 till near the end of the game. Mississippi looked like it was going to be a blowout, and then that ended up being a close. So, quality loss.
Productive losses.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, you would like to steal one of those or one or two of those, but to come out of those games and go, we hung with these guys.
And on an individual level too, Ahmad Rory's getting a lot of pub right now, and he should. He's phenomenal. He's kind of the engine that's making this team go. Walter Wright's solid, but the guy that this team missed, he didn't play the first 6 games, is Mike Ogine. And the biggest part about this is he still wasn't fully healthy until about last weekend. As far as his shot, he's a phenomenal defender, and that's where he doesn't get enough credit either because he uses all his energy to guard the other team's best and lets Ahmad and Walter score, at least for the most part. But now he's starting to get his shot back because he broke his hand. When they rushed him back in the sense of, okay, he's ready to do everything but shoot from long range. He can go into the rim, but that's about it. Well, you saw it. He had 4 3-pointers in the second half against Eastern. Now he can start getting an outside game. You have a 3-headed monster with Rory, Wright, and Ogine. Scary for the rest of the league.
Riley Corcoran, the voice of the Griz. If you have any questions or comments for Riley, your calls are welcome, 721-1290. And I was listening to your call. You talk about that road sweep at Moscow and Cheney, Washington, and definitely a tale of 2 different games. But I was listening to your call on Thursday night, and what was really different about that one is Montana was up 10 at halftime. And, they'd get it to 12, and then it would come back to 9, and then it finally dropped to about 5 or 6, and I was like, dang it, Riley! And of course, tuned out for a little while. Because I'm one of those knuckleheads that thinks they're jinxing the team. Yep. But they never lost that lead. Eastern Washington was a different deal. They had to come back and kind of run the free throw table down the last minute or two of that game. But it was an exciting call to listen to that and fun to listen to you just kind of keep tabs on them. They didn't lose any composure, and they just. I know there was a key play you'll probably talk about where Michael Ogine had a steal against Victor Sanders, Idaho's premier player. But it was just one of those things where they bent a little bit, but they never, ever broke.
And that really is a sign of a good team, a team that's maturing, that's coming together. And you're right, the two games were vastly different. Idaho, it was that 6-12 threshold. It felt like the whole game. The Griz got out 8-0. Never relinquished the lead, but in the second half, as you mentioned, it was between 6 and 12. Idaho would get it down to 6. Then the Griz would extend it back out. So that was fun. Then Saturday, 17 lead changes, and the Griz were in quicksand for the first half. They scored 23, I think. So just totally different, but finding a way to win's big. And as far as the jinxing part of it, that's funny you say that, because Walter Wright, who's a great free throw shooter, he's number one in the Big Sky, about 90%. Well, that Weber State game, we all know what happened at the end. Well, before that, about 3 minutes left, still a tight game. I'm just rattling off what's on my spotter board here. Walter Wright made his first 25 free throws this year. He's first in the Big Sky. Sure enough, misses the first. I get a death glare from 3 of the coaches on the bench looking over going, what are you doing? And it was just heat of the moment, and we all joke about it now. But it was, because of course at home it's more quiet, so you can hear me. Oh, my goodness. So for the final free throws, I didn't say anything, but I am aware, and I'm starting to develop, hey, I've got to get better throughout the course of the year too. I'll jinx the other team at the line. So when we're at the line and you might hear some radio silence for 3 seconds, I'm done doing that. It's not worth the death glares, guys. I got to ride the bus with them.
I don't think I'd ever want to be stared at in a mean way by Mr. Travis.
Oh, not in the heat of battle either. In the heat of battle. The funny thing is there's sometimes if it's a questionable play. I love it. Travis and I have a great relationship. I'm totally on board with what the vision that he has. But there was a call with the half circle there under the hoop. Now the new rule that if your heel is on it, it's an automatic block instead of a charge. Well, there was a call that was changed. They initially called a charge. The Grizzlies took the charge. Bobby Moorhead did. And the officials huddled, changed the call, and of course Travis is going nuts. And, he's screaming, and I'm looking at the replay, and he just looks at me. I'm blabbing away, of course, on the air, and he goes, was he on the line or not? Was he on the line or not? And he's asking me. I said, yeah, he was on the line. He's thinking, oh, okay, I'll give this one up. But he's just funny. It's back and forth. I love there have been times when I critique myself. There have been times where I kind of just stop talking for a second and observe Travis. He is so interesting on the sideline. The way he engages with his team, with officials, how he fires it. He's a master motivator. I'll tell you that. If you watch him coach, it's easy to see.
And what was interesting about some of his post-game remarks after that Eastern Washington game where he's talking about, I didn't mention anything like that, but, well, at least he's smart enough. If he's going to get a technical, he's not going to get it in the final minute of the game, unlike some Eastern Washington head coaches. But the other thing, when he was analyzing the game, he's talking about, well, this team, Eastern Washington, they score 70, 80 points a game. We've held them to 25, which means, in my mind, they're only going to score 50. So if they're only going to score 50, then we got this game. But I'm thinking, but you only scored 23, which means you're only going to using that logic. But I love his glasses half full mentality about that.
And that's with everything that he does too. And very competitive in whatever they'll do. Always with a vision, always with a plan. And Coach Chris Cobb talks to me at halftime before they start the second half, and that's what's interesting because they come out of there and Travis, winning or losing, he has a message to get him ready to go for the second half. And if you notice, pretty darn good out of the locker room. The first 4 to 5 minutes, the Eastern game's a good example. They snatched momentum back, never gave it. So it's fun to hear what Coach Cobb says. Kind of, he relays the message, the PG version. He kind of translates it for us. And I asked Coach to cure this on the coach's show.
Yeah, you asked him if there was a G version of that, and he said, no, I don't think I have that.
Yeah, they don't come out with a G version of what I say in the locker room.
Well, and the Grizzlies 8-0 when holding opponents to less than 70 points on the season. And it's interesting, as you've seen the college basketball landscape kind of change. The NFL's done that too. They went from a running to now they throw the ball all around down the field, and it's kind of the same thing. Football went from power to finesse, and basketball is doing that too. And you can see it with the Grizzlies. They run what I heard it's called a 4-and-1, where basically you got 4 guards and and a big man, and the Grizzlies are doing that too.
And it's funny because coming into the season, everyone was worried, well, how is this team going to survive with one post threat, basically? Well, that hasn't been a storyline at all. We're talking about how deep their guards are, and that's what the coaching staff predicted, but it's crazy. You're right. The landscape, especially in this conference, it's all about guard play. There are very few like true 7-footers, true post guys anymore that an offense revolves around. Martin Broinig might be one of the last guys you see, at least for the near future, with the way basketball.
Although Montana did recruit a 7-footer. Yes. I don't know how much you know about him. Maybe you can talk about him a little bit when we come back. But
yes, absolutely. Carl Nicholas and Kelby Kramer, those guys. It'll be good.
A lot of good things coming basketball and football-wise. We'll delve into the world of Grizzly football as well when we come back with Riley Corcoran on Sports Talk Tonight with Gurnz and Bedard.
No matter if it's fall and you're getting ready for the football tailgate, winter and you're having friends over to watch the basketball game, or spring and you're stocking up for a weekend of baseball and softball, at Grizzly Liquor we have all of your wine, spirits, and party supplies. With over 2,000 liquors, hundreds of wines, and a wide selection of mixers, ice, hostess gifts, and the largest selection of Montana-made spirits in the West, we are ready to help you get ready for the big game. We are downtown at 110 West Spruce, next to the Iron Horse, open Monday through Saturday 9 to 7:30. Grizzly Liquor, big sky, big selection.
For plumbing and heating services, drain cleaning, installation of garbage disposals, faucets, sinks, bathtubs, showers, and toilets, boiler repair, and more, the easiest way to get it done is with a call to Thomas Plumbing. 24 hours a day if necessary, commercial or residential, no job's too small, and Thomas Plumbing stands behind their work. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. Quality service, reasonable rates. That's Thomas Plumbing. Call or stop by 2327 South Avenue West in Missoula, or find out more at thomasplumbingmt.com. Why do tool lovers love Montana Tool? Because they'd rather shop a tool store than a tool department. And if you need some advice, the tool guys at Montana Tool know their stuff, and they won't make you wait while they go help somebody else with a lawnmower or a ceiling fan. Montana Tool carries some of the best brands in the industry. Western Montana exclusives from Fine, Festool, Metabo, and SawStop, along with the area's largest selection of Jet and Powermatic. For beginners to experts, the right tools at the right store. Montana Tool, helping to build Sports Talk Tonight. 1908 North Avenue West in Missoula.
Sports Talk Tonight, live from the KGVO studio.
Missoula Sports.
We are back. Sports Talk Tonight with Gurnz and Bedard, brought to you in part by Bell McCall Ford. Great selection of new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Great deals on 2016 closeouts. Your locally owned, low-cost auto dealer for over 100 years in downtown Hamilton. And by Granite Pharmacy, locally owned and operated pharmacy on South Avenue between Shopko and Big Sky High School. Find them at granitepharmacy.com. In studio with us is our great pleasure. About once every 6 weeks. We probably need to make it once a month. We've got the great Riley Corcoran, voice of the Grizzlies, and we're talking UM basketball, and we're going to jump to football in a minute, but Denny had mentioned something about some 7-footers that are coming our way.
Oh, my goodness. Carl Nicholas is he's someone that will be a force coming in. Just unbelievable high school talent. He's averaging a double-double, obviously, if not more. Last time I checked, it was about 16 points, 14.5 rebounds per game. And a guy, too, and I know we'll talk recruiting, especially with football, but Jamara Coe. And he is practicing currently with the Grizzlies. He came over from Cal State Fullerton.
Right, yeah.
He's a true center. And you think about it next year, and Carl Nicholas, I think, can contribute. Kelby Kramer might be a year away. He's a stud from Wyoming that's 6'10", 6'11", in that range. So we've got some big guys coming in, but Jamara Coe, big-bodied, physical dude that I'm telling you, right now, he could be an all-league player if he's eligible this year. But instead, he's on the scout team. He could redshirt
because of the transfer rules. He could not play this year.
From a D1 to a D1. Yeah. But I'm already thinking with him and Fabian both on the floor at the same time, you can go big, or you can rotate those two, always have one of them fresh with four-guard look. It's crazy. I know we got to enjoy this year, but I'm already looking at it.
And I know the coaches are kind of at the point where they can't comment on it too much, but with the losses after this season of Walter Wright and Mario Dunn, maybe a little bit of concern at point guard, but I think they've got a couple of pretty prime prospects at that position as well. And it's interesting you talk another thing about the recruits, and I think they had their hoop club shortly before our coaches show live at Brooks and Brown's yesterday, so you got to hear a little bit of that. But interesting, the kids from first off, these kids are talking about academically very solid, very sound. I think he said that the Texas kid, and of which we've never had. Is that right? Is this our first?
Isn't that crazy?
Texas basketball recruit. Wow. Went for like 28 and 18 the other night.
It's video game numbers.
Well, it's funny.
Their team is ranked number 1 in the. Is he in the Houston or the Dallas area?
Houston.
Yeah, Houston area.
You mentioned that, and we've got a running back that just committed from the Houston area.
James Brown.
Downtown James Brown. That's Freddie Brown. But anyways, the first Texas player we've had since like 1983.
Out of high school.
Yeah.
Because I was, last year, James Holman was a transfer, and I'm thinking to myself, because when you've seen those crazy spotter boards, I'm looking at it, he's the only Texas guy. Thinking, how do we not have a Texas pipeline, or at least something, a connection where you have one or two guys? But yeah, you're right. First high school Texas recruit. I mean,
well, while we're on it, let's just segue right from basketball to football. This might be my favorite time of the year. You've got NFL playoffs. NCAA basketball is just getting rolling, and you've got, and I'm a stat guy, and if I go to a Mariners game or if I go to a high school football game, I don't dare grab a program because I'm in it the whole time. I'm looking to see where people are from and how tall they are, and just any little stat that I can. I mean, the football cards and myself were. I mean, I knew all of them. They were my friends. I mean, I knew that much about them, and so it's really cool to see all of these kids that we have coming. Last night they announced that James Brown, running back, a 3-star running back from the Houston area, he had committed in November, but he didn't make it public until yesterday. And Isaiah Banks from Denver, who's another 3-star guy, safety, committed here, and he had offers from Hawaii, Colorado, New Mexico, and Air Force. This James Brown, this running back, he was being talked to by Houston, Texas Tech, Miami, Florida State. They might not have offered him, but just that they were interested in him.
Holy smokes.
Tells you something.
Even if they offer him preferred walk-on.
Oh, yeah.
And for him to choose.
There's only so many spots.
Oh.
And then the other guy that committed yesterday was David Shaw. He's a defensive tackle from Pennsylvania, but was at Maryland. He's 6'5", 310 pounds. He started a few games. He got injured one year. Then they had a coaching change, and they switched the defense and blah, blah, blah. I actually met him at the depot. He was eating dinner on his recruiting trip.
Oh, no kidding.
And he stood up and shook my hand, and I was like, who the hell is this guy? And wouldn't you know it, a week later.
Here, let me show you a letter of intent right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and so you got David Shaw, who's a drop-down, and combine him with Chris Favaroso and Dylan Guilfoy, the two defensive ends, and then the quarterback, Caleb Hill, who comes from Blinn College, which is where Cam Newton came from, and James Holman. You know, and there's a couple other. I tell you what, it's the caliber of guys we've gotten in the last 2 years has literally blown my socks off. They haven't played yet, and who knows? You got to do it on the field. Sure. It's all on paper at the moment.
Riley, what have you heard as far as the whole coaching situation? Because you know, it was a disappointing year. There's really not too many pretty pictures you can paint from 2016, and we know how fans are and how unreasonable they can be. But it seems like it's one of those years. It's going to be your head coach's third year. Got all of the scholarships back now, I think.
This year for the first time.
Yeah, and now it's your third year. It's mostly your guys. Do you sense like a lot of feeling of pressure, or hopefully not panic or anything like that?
Pressure is a good word. I feel it, and I think everyone that's associated with Montana in one way or another thrives on it. I mean,
it's there all the time, regardless.
It is all the time, and it just got turned up. We ask about, well, what's the result of this? The result of losing to Northern Colorado and a 3-7 Montana State team coming in is you turn up the heat a little bit, in the sense of everyone is on their toes and more aware, and you got to look at the positive of the situation that, okay, we need to do some things differently around here. We don't need to blow it up by any stretch of the imagination. We have the pieces in place, but maybe we need to tinker with one aspect of it here, one aspect of it here to make the bigger picture.
And this is one of the reasons I love working with Gurnz on the football pregame show, because he's just so astute at that stuff, and we just never, we did not get the opportunity. We had a very, very short post-game show after the Montana State game, the last game of the year. I don't know if we felt like talking to each other very much anyway. But to Riley's point, you probably see a lot of that. I mean, do you look at that and do you think, man, you're giving your quarterback too many options, or you're letting him think too much, or what little things like that do you see in that? I mean, I don't mean, get up to the line of scrimmage and run the play. Here's the play that I've called. Do not deviate, nothing. Just run that. I don't mean necessarily that, but it seemed like primarily Brady Gustafson, because he was the starting quarterback most of the time, but it seemed like there was an awful lot of progressions and thought processes there before the ball was snapped. Maybe too much.
I think there's a lot of learning on a coaching staff that comes up from the level, and I think that last year was a continuation of that, and I think this year is going to be the first year we had that I'm going to go for it on fourth down, every time, because that's just what I do. And the first couple of games that happened and almost really bit somebody in the behind. I think getting used to the speed of the game, the athletes of the game. I'll give you a prime example. Jerry Louis McGee against who was the game when he broke the record with 21 catches? Cal Poly. Okay, he had 13 catches in the first half, or 12 for 140 yards. He had 8 catches in the second half for 25 yards. It's like, why are you continuing? It's like you can do that at another level. You got to be more dynamic. And I know that we can be. So I think it's a constant learning thing as you get used to the next level. The thing with Gustafson, I don't know. Brady had such a up and down year. One game he was on fire. The next game he looked like he was me throwing the football. There were a couple players I thought that they stayed with a little too long at times, and should have had other guys in there. And I tell you what, though, when you're a head coach and you're thinking, okay, I need to win this game. I've got mouths to feed. I've got seniors here that have proven themselves. It's tough to make a change because, the second guessing is going to start if it doesn't work. I mean, it's a weird thing, and I'm not professing that it's an easy deal, but
and in comes the new play-by-play guy, and has to deal with that his first football season. But you've been on the job about 6 months. I imagine you've gotten more than your fair share of input from Griz Nation, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, because they're so dang passionate. But I imagine you've gotten plenty of the kinds of things Gurnz is talking about.
Plenty of that, plenty of asking, what I thought the problem was, what I would diagnose as the problem, or what I see during games, or something really going on behind the scenes. And it's fun because the passion is unquestioned. I would even say in the region, and I know I've said it multiple times, but it's true, even through basketball. I mean, I have people come up to me at the coaches show that want to just pick my brain about certain aspects that you wouldn't even think about, just the common fan, but they're digging deeper. They want to know. They care so much about the squad, and I love that part. But yes, now 6 months and covering a couple sports, you get plenty of opinions from Griz Nation.
You know what I think is going to be key next year, and that's in-game coaching and in-game adjustments. Now, you hear people comment on, well, why the hell are they running that play? Why are they running that? I said, you know what, people? I said, these coaches have been in these rooms for months and months, hundreds and hundreds of hours, dissecting plays, and if a team's going to run this defense, then this play is going to work. I mean, it's gonna. That's how coaches work. But when it doesn't, or the defense gets changed up, the on-the-field adjustments are going to be crucial, and they are with any team.
And the reason why, just to keep going off your point, the reason why the pressure is so high here is because you have better athletes. Therefore, if you make those in-game adjustments, you should be successful, and you should be the one on top. And that's why there's more added pressure at Montana than Northern Colorado. You should make those in-game adjustments and come out on top. You have better athletes. Yeah,
and you know what? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, and you need to be more on the do than the don't.
Yes.
So and I think that goes with the learning curve as well.
You work very closely not only with the head coaches, of course, but some of the assistant coaches too, as far as interviews and and relationships. To the point that you've gotten so far getting to know Bob Stitt and Travis DeCure, anything surprise you or fascinate you or kind of stick out in your mind?
You know what? I think that for Coach Stitt, his attention to detail, and there might be different opinions about the way that people go about their business and stuff. But the way I see it with Coach Stitt is he truly is the smartest person in the room. And he is so intellectual in the sense of you can just tell sometimes when you're talking to him that he's processing different kind of material. And that stands out to me about Coach Stitt. For Coach DeCure, I know we touched on it a bit earlier, but his passion and just his competitiveness for everything that he does stands out to me. The assistants, I know we got to go to a break here.
No, we're fine.
But those guys, the way that they work together is what is great to see. Basketball-wise, those guys, it's like a family of 4 or 5 brothers, those assistant coaches along with Travis, and they can give each other a hard time, but they're constructive, and that's what makes a good coaching staff. That I can tell Gurnz, I think you're wrong on this, and I'm going to tell you why I'm wrong, and you watch and go, yeah, okay, you know what? Yeah, you're right, and that's what this coaching staff does well.
When you're calling a game, you are down near the home bench the whole time. And I know that Coach DeCure, he will probably overdo it into the officials' ears every now and then, and he'll pay the price every now and then too. But I don't think he makes it a 40-minute routine. And there are coaches, and frankly, I think Eastern Washington's head coach, probably Northern Arizona's like that too, is their team has never, ever in the history of the program committed a foul. Their opponent has never not traveled on every possession. Their opponent has never not thrown an elbow to get an offensive foul. And to me, in my mind, and he did. He got teed up. Jim Hayford,
yep,
got teed up the last minute or so.
4 seconds left.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess maybe the game was no longer.
It's a 3-point game when he got the tee.
It just seems to me. I don't know. I have never asked an official about this, but it just seems to me that if you are for the entire game, officials kind of stop listening to that and just get cranky.
You're right, and it's calculated the way that Travis goes about it.
Exactly. Because that's exactly the perfect word.
At the beginning of the game, you get on him a little bit. You know, and same thing. You're breaking down film. You know if a Northern Colorado player is going to hook a little bit to try, and you can tell the officials, hey, watch for this, or hey, you're missing this part of it. But as the game goes on, all coaches ask for consistency.
Yep.
That's fine. And in the second half, you'll see. Coach DeCure is a little bit backed off in the second half unless they're inconsistent. If they're calling stuff they did in the first half, then they'll get a little fired up again. And I truly, that's the best approach. Because, like you said, if you're chirping for 40 minutes, Hayford, Murphy, they're just going to stop listening to you. I will have to throw this one in there, too. Randy Ray, just like Coach DeCure. Chirps in the first half. Head coach at Weber State, the all-time winningest coach in Big Sky history. He's calculated in the second half as well, and you kind of saw it in the game that they beat Montana. He got the calls late.
Quick story on Bob Stitt and attention to detail. I read a story about a parent had wrote a letter to Griz Nation about the recruitment of his son. His son had 5 offers, all of them bigger schools in Montana. Bob Stitt called him on the phone and said, hey, do you have 60 minutes to talk with me tomorrow? And Dad thought that was weird, and so he gets on the phone.
60 minutes?
60 minutes.
Okay.
And Bob had 60 questions for this kid in related to football and schooling, and just picked his brain. And
knowledge of the game.
And if he was a fit, and the dad was like, not one of the other coaches from any other schools did anything like that. So attention to detail, like you were saying. When we come back, Stupid and Steele, and we'll talk about the NFL playoffs with Riley Corcoran right after this. Sports Talk Tonight.
It's that time of year again where people make the decision to lose weight. Don't be fooled by programs that offer quick weight loss or melting fat away. The Peak offers a weight loss program that will help you change your lifestyle and lose weight. Hi, I'm Denise Zimmer, registered dietitian at the Peak. We are excited to announce Lose It at the Peak starting January 26. Our 8-week program will help you change your life, eating and exercise habits through education, exercise, and encouragement, resulting in shedding of unwanted pounds. For more information, call me at the Peak at 239-0078.
The savings continue into the new year at CHS Mountain West Cooperative. It's cold outside, and when it's time to do outside chores, you need to keep your hands warm. So choose insulated rubber-dipped work glove, Frosty Grip Glove by Boss, just $4.99. That's a $5 savings during January hot buys. Stay warm with great savings on flannel shirts, coveralls, work boots, and so much more. CHS Mountain West Co-op in Missoula and Ronan.
One-stop ranch and home store, Mountain West Cooperative.
If you're flying out of town for 5 days or more, protect your vehicle at Vigilante Parking on the Fly. No shuttle, you park your car at the airport and we pick it up. Don't let the big guy with the duffel bag scratch your car, and watch out for the late flyer who quick dents your door. At Vigilante Parking on the Fly, we vacuum the floor mats and clean the windshield. When your flight arrives home, we have your vehicle waiting for you at the airport. No shuttle, no waiting, just ready. If you're flying out of town for 5 days or more, stay safe at Vigilante Parking on the Fly. Make your reservations Monday through Friday at 549-4111.
At Bell McCall Ford in Hamilton, they take the guesswork out of buying a car or truck. When you buy from Bell McCall, no extra fees are tacked on, no inflated interest rates, and no expensive extras. Now's a great time to take advantage of closeout pricing on new 2016 Ford F-150s, Super Duties, and Escapes. Huge factory discounts on most Ford models. Take advantage of big savings on remaining 2016 models in stock at Bell McCall Ford, downtown Hamilton.
Now back to Missoula's Sports Talk Tonight on KGVO.
Missoula Sports. Every second of every day.
We're back. Sports Talk Tonight, brought to you in part by Jerry Wessel's Tire Center. Locally owned Les Schwab Tire Center provides the best tire value promise. Visit them online at jerrywesselstirecenter.com.
Well, you do those reads quickly.
That's right, and I got one more. And by CHS Mountain West Co-op, Western Montana's source for Cynic's fuel, feed, fertilizer, clothing, and tack for over 75 years.
Danny, you know what? We'll both take credit. You take 90% of it. Gurnz is actually prepping. I'll take 10% of credit for that. And he's kind of good at this radio thing. We'll give you 90% credit for that.
All right, don't spoil him, because now
I'm in double digits now.
Now he'll think he can coast the rest of the year, and it's only January. I can't have that.
That's right. We did start over.
All right, Danny, what we got?
It's time for Scott Guernsey Steel of the Week. That brought to you by True North Steel, Western Montana's industry leader in quality manufactured and fabricated steel products. Gurnz, the Steel of the Week.
We'll get through this fast, Danny, and the Steel of the Week goes back to Monday night, National Championship, Clemson versus Bama. It was a back-and-forth game. 38 points were scored in the first three quarters, 28 in the last. It was 31-28. Clemson had just scored. Bama marches down in 2 minutes and 31 seconds as Jalen Hurts scores on a 30-yard touchdown scamper, leaving 2 minutes and 7 seconds left on the clock. I thought to myself, way too much time. I was right. Clemson proceeds to knife through the vaunted Bama defense with
a couple of spectacular catches in there, and that knifing, I'll tell you.
With 6 seconds left, Deshaun Watson finds Renfro in the end zone for the winner, a 2-yard touchdown. The drive was helped by incredible grabs by Leggett and Williams. Renfro, 10 for 92, 2 touchdowns. He caught 2 TDs in last year's game as well. Deshaun Watson, 36 of 56, 423 touchdowns, 43 yards rushing, another touchdown. And with 1 second left on the clock, when it was all said and done, Clemson steals the victory from Bama.
Steel of the Week being brought to you by True North Steel. On to Stupid.
Well, boy, I tell you what. Here's a guy. He's in the NBA. He's seeking to get a max contract next year when his current contract runs out. He's missed 250-plus games over the past 5 seasons before this one. Averages 17 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Some team will be, and the contract's going to be $150 million for 5 years.
Wow.
Some team will stupidly pay it, but you know, when you disappear before a game, you don't tell your teammates or your coaches or anybody where you're at. I don't even know when he let them know. They went into the game when they didn't know where he was. He was just MIA.
Somebody from Chicago texted Phil Jackson in New York saying, "Hey, why is Derrick Rose in Chicago?"
There you go. And my stupid athlete of the week. No, you're right. Derrick Rose, just inexplicably. And it was a family thing, which, hey, nobody knows what's going on. But there's either you're driving there or you're taking a plane ride, and you can send out a message to the people that your teammates, your other family, the people that pay you, let them know you're not going to be there. Stupid. And my backup, I
figured there was a runner-up, a miscongeniality.
My runner-up is Grayson Allen, who has been in 3 tripping incidences, gets suspended for a game this year, and then the second game he's back. Did you see this, Riley? Yeah. He's getting screened on the top, and he kind of gets off balance, and he swings his leg behind him and catches the guy in the nuts on purpose.
Mm-hmm. And did you see what happened last night? Seriously, he goes into Florida State's bench, and you have to watch the video on it. It's all about beauty's in the eye of the beholder here. But he goes into Florida State's bench and throws an elbow at their assistant coach. This guy he's got a problem.
And I hate Duke, and that just gives me more.
He got a 1-game punishment for all of that a couple weeks ago too.
Once they announced Coach K had to miss a month, they said, okay, we better need this guy back.
And they lost the game that he was out. They got throttled. Anyways,
so
those are my
this has been a recurring problem for this kid. For what is he, a junior? Or?
Yeah, there's my stupid athletes of the week. News on the coaching front. Coach Sweat, the outside receivers coach from Montana, will not return next year. Don't know who they're replacing him with, but there are rumors that Matt Troxel was in town today for an interview. He is the former Montana Grizzly player. He's the OC at Idaho State.
Great football mind.
Yep. Yeah, and it comes from a history of coaches in the Troxel family. So that will be interesting. Let's get to the NFL playoffs while we're here.
All right.
Denny?
How bad did we screw that? We did good at this, right?
No, you did good at this.
We really screwed up the college football playoffs.
That's done.
Okay.
That's done.
That's how bad, Riley. That's how bad Gurnz screwed up the...
But in the NFL, Denny, you picked the Texans over the Raiders, the Seahawks over the Lions, the Steelers over the Dolphins, and the Pack over the Giants.
Pretty much went with all the home teams.
I picked the Seahawks and the Steelers. I felt bad for the Raiders. But anyways, we're going to make 3 picks this week. Seattle at Atlanta. Denny.
Well, the home teams seem to be on a roll. I guess I will pick the Atlanta Falcons.
This won't please too many of my friends out here, but it's the lock of the week. Atlanta in a blowout.
Oh, my Lord.
I think Atlanta blows them out.
Seattle. Screw you guys. Can I say that?
Tell a lot.
Oh, yeah, you can.
Okay. You can tell a lot of thought went into that pick.
Yeah.
Texans at the now this is the lock of the week.
Yeah, it is.
I'm just going to write down Patriots.
Thank you.
That doesn't even count as a pick. That's the second largest spread I think in history.
I was going to say I didn't see one, so I thought they weren't even going to give it.
16.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Might have to tease that. Steelers at the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Denny.
That's a kick. What did Jennifer? Was Jennifer yelling at us? All right. Let's go with the Chiefs on that one.
That's the road upset I'm picking, the mini one. I'm taking Pittsburgh on that.
Ooh, Pittsburgh. Yeah. And I'm going to take KC. I think the Ben Roethlisberger foot thing has nothing to do with anything, but whatever. He's always hurt anyways.
He's always hurt.
Packers at the Cowboys.
I figured I should have one upset. I saved it for the Packers-Cowboys game.
That's a Vikings.
We know why that is, Denny.
Green Bay over Dallas.
You want to ride home tonight is what you want.
I'll take the Cowboys there.
As will
I. In a squeaker. In a squeaker.
Oh boy, it's going to be a great
looking forward to it.
Weekend. Hey, new number 1 basketball team in the country if they beat Oklahoma State, my Kansas Jayhawks. Looking pretty good. Riley, any last words?
Listen or come out to the games Thursday, Saturday, and thanks for having me on.
We'll be on the air at 6:30 tomorrow night with Riley's pregame tip-off 7 o'clock. Northern Colorado kids 12 and under when accompanied by adults. Get in free. General admission tomorrow nights.
Meet me at Access Fitness. Thank you, Riley.
Thank you
Corcoran for being here with us on Sports Talk tonight. Gurnz and Bedard. See you next week.
No matter if it's fall and you're getting ready for the football tailgate,